Okay, let's do this. Dear Bolaji, I feel that I struggle with asking for things. My name is Camille. I am an architect. I've been an architect for 13 years and still struggle with this. I have taken on a design project for a new client. The project is in its third month and I've ended up doing too many roles, which was not the initial plan. I want this project to be good and it's also important to the client, but I do not want to crash and burn. I know that if I do not function, the project does not go well. But when I think about voicing my concerns, all I hear in my head is me, i.e. am I being self-centered? I think I struggle with asking for things. I know you have to run a studio and do big projects. So how do you manage such things? Thank you so much, Camille. Okay. Hello, Camille. Thank you for sharing that. I think you're asking a very, 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 very important, crucial question. Not in the sense of how do I manage a project, but at the heart of this is your mind and the narrative, the story that you tell yourself when you are asking for something. You said me, as if you are worried how other people will perceive you when you are asking permission to do something or to receive something. The project that you're working on had an agreement, okay? And an agreement speaks to boundaries. And by boundaries, I mean what's allowed and what's not allowed. You mentioned that you're worried that you're taking on too many roles and that you don't want to crash and burn and that you need to function so that the project goes well. You clearly care about the project. So let's mention that. Let's establish what we do know. We know that you care about the project and we know that you started with an agreement speaking to the roles that you should be doing versus now you're doing too many roles. And you want to, it feels to me, say, hey, I shouldn't be doing all of these roles, or if I do all these roles in some way, I need to be able to function so the project doesn't mess up. So we're talking about boundaries here. And I feel that boundaries is something that for some reason in our culture, people really struggle with. You said that you feel that you struggle with asking for things. So my question would be why? And according to what you shared with me, it seems like there's a sense of guilt because you use this expression of me. And I'm assuming that you not wanting people to worry that you are putting yourself at the center of the situation. So the good thing here is that from my point of view, you are not putting yourself at the center of the situation. You're putting the project at the center of the situation because you want the project to do well. So what I do when I'm working with people, if I'm doing an exhibition or any other creative project, I don't put myself at the center of the project. I put the project at the center of the project. So if I need something, it's not because I need something for the sake of me, it's that I need something for the sake of the project. So you don't have to, what you need to do is change the reason. And by reason, that's the story that we tell ourselves in our head. So if you are taking on too many roles, when you are expressing that you are doing too many roles to the client, you're not saying I'm doing too many roles because it's going to make me crash and burn, and therefore if I crash and burn that I am now a selfish person. No, you're saying if I crash and burn, then I can't do the project for you. So ironically, it's for the client, it's for the project. So when you are asking for something, it's just the way that one communicates that, okay? It's not necessarily putting ourselves going, I need this because I need this full stop. It's, I need this thing to happen so that the project goes well. And when the project goes well, you are happy. So boundaries is not just actually for us. Boundaries are for the project and for the other person. Let me use myself as an example. If I'm doing something for me, rest, for example, can be purposeful. And so the boundary that I create for myself when I'm working is, if I go and take this rest, I'm not taking this rest so I can escape something. I'm taking this rest for the sake of the project. So because I've changed the reason, because I've changed the story in my mind, that now allows me to go and do the thing which initially I was afraid of doing. So if we may take that to your scenario and say you are now doing too many roles, how does doing too many roles help the project? Do you see what I mean? If it doesn't help the project, meaning allowing you to function, then everything collapsed. So the boundary that you had at the beginning of the agreement with the client was a good boundary, okay? If it now goes to having too many roles, we don't need to go into this space of like, I'm doing too many roles, even though you will be within your right to say that. But I'm sensing that you don't want to upset the client, you don't want to kind of lose the project. Then communicate that it's about the project. And when other people can see that actually you're communicating something in favor of them, you are also winning as well, because one, you're not doing too many roles now, and two, they are being elevated to a different place in their mind where they can see the thing you are suggesting is not actually about you, the me, putting yourself at the center. What you're actually doing is putting the project at the center. So for me, putting boundaries in place is about changing the why, changing the reason for the sake of the project. We don't need to feel guilty or feel like you can't communicate what you need, because it's not about what you need for the sake of you, it's about what you need for the sake of the project. So, the same with relationships, when people say, this is what I need. Well, if you just say it like that, then the other person puts a wall up and they're not hearing you. But if you're in a relationship with someone and you communicate that, for the sake of our relationship, I think X, Y, and Z needs to be put in place, then what you're doing is allowing the other person to be part of that conversation, and you're allowing them to be part of the reason why, as opposed to just, it's because I need this. Whenever we communicate it in the sense of, I need this for the sake of I need this, then people have a wall up, they don't listen. But when we change the reason, and we're still getting the same thing, we're still getting the thing that we want, but we're changing the reason, in other words, the project, the relationship, the thing at play, then people tend to listen more. And even if you're doing it for yourself, your mind and your body listens better, and then ultimately the project succeeds, your work succeeds, the other person's happy, and you also get the thing that you want. Are you with me? So the thing in your head is a story. The me, that reason, that guilt is a story, and you need to change that reason in your head to actually, it's not about me, it's about the project. Change the reason in your head. Boundaries is not a selfish act. Boundaries is creating a reason for allowing things to flow. It's an agreement of putting things in place. It's a reason so that the project can do well, so that you can function and do well. I hope that makes sense.